other form of new technology you see here is portable water. So by the early 1900s, we do have plumbing and portable water accessible to the rich and the powerful. You see a flushable toilet here. You see a bathtub, of course, water running through pipes, plumbing, foot tub, and also a sink. So the people in the cities were able to have access to this predominantly, first and foremost. And again, the poor didn't have access to this because it was pretty expensive to have plumbing put it into your tenement. And of course, a lot of the people didn't have that money because they were working at low minimum wage jobs. So the rich and the wealthy were able to afford this. It did make the first step to being able to provide portable water for the poor, but that was still a ways off. It was just a matter of time until the poor were able to have access to portable water. But again, this kind of gives you an idea of the advances of new technology that we are seeing. And a lot of times we don't really think of plumbing as a new technology, but it definitely is. Another form of innovation, as you can see on the left-hand side of that picture, was taken probably in the 1940s, but it kind of gives an idea of these steel beams that are being used to produce these skyscrapers. So initially, skyscrapers were about 10 floors high. By the 1920s, they were about 50 floors high. And of course, with the steel beam structures being formed, you also have workers, which is what you see here. Workers make money. That money is now being able to use to generate the economy. So it was a combination of two things: technology and workers being able to labor so that the economy could continue to go. So steel beams, skeletons are able to make large buildings possible. However, you don't want to walk the 50 floors to your apartment. So just as important as the steel beams was the elevator. So the elevator helps people to access the floor that they live in without having to walk all the way up. Of course, you wouldn't want to do that, especially if you're carrying your groceries. And again, we did had people who were managing the elevators, and of course, people who were giving maintenance to the elevators. And so, what does that do? It produces jobs for people to be able to provide for their family. So that was other forms of jobs. Another form of new technology was the cable cars. So the cable cars are able to have people actually leave the cities and live in the suburbs. And again, for the most part, those were the wealthy, the rich. It was Anglo-Saxon white people for the most part. And because of that, cable cars actually also increase and accelerate segregation, because now white affluent people live in the outskirts and the poor, the minority, usually live in the cities. And because of that, we see an increase also in violence. Cable cars, they do have a lot of accidents. And so what happens is engineers start to build cable cars on the top or underground in the subways as well. So we do see cable cars also being a major impact in the economy and also in segregation, racial issues as well. And again, creating jobs as well, right? Obviously, somebody needs to run that cable car. The next invention that we're going to be talking about is electricity. So I talked about the Chicago's World Fair for a couple times already. Chicago's World's Fair happens in 1893. And what you see here is electricity. Electricity lights the night, and it also provides jobs 24 hours a day. Now you don't have to stop working when the sun goes down. Light is able to be generated, and as such, people are working a little bit more as well. So electricity also a major part. And then finally, one of my favorite inventions, the telephone. This is my iPhone, right? You send a message, you receive it, and then people are also working on this, mainly women. Women become telephone operators as well. So this is some of the other new technology that was introduced right around the turn of the 20th century.